Welcome, my dear students of Class 8, to this English class with me, your tutor, Atsinyo Sekose. Today, we are going to continue with the lesson Bepin Choudhury's Lapse of Memory Part 3. And I am sure you want to find out what's going to happen next. So let's find out. So we found that in our previous class, Bepin Choudhury, in his office, he was not able to concentrate in his work. So he finally decided to call up his friend Dinesh Mukherjee, and Dinesh Mukherjee confirmed that he was in Ranchi in the year 1958. So he slammed down the phone, lost his appetite, and he was starting to feel sick. And he could not concentrate at all in his work. And this is an evidence that we can say that he is very hardworking person, and this has never happened in the 25 years that he has been working in the firm. Now, he has the reputation of being a conscientious worker, which means he is a very hardworking person who never neglects his work, where we can also say that he put his work above everything else. So that's what we can say about Bipin Babu here. Now, he could not concentrate in his work, so for this, on this particular day, what happened is that he, after lunch hour, he left and he went home. And he wondered about any head injury that night that might cause the loss of memory. So he is wondering, did I had an injury or did I had an accident whereby I got a head injury? You know, when we got into an accident and if we hit our head, sometimes there is this sickness called short-term memory loss. So he's wondering whether he had that or not. And he's trying to remember what or how he might have got the accident, especially the scar on his right knee. So all these things were playing on his mind, and he could not get it out of his mind that he had forgotten about a trip to Ranchi, and he is wondering what is to be done next. At that point of time, we find that he had another person who came visiting. Let's find out. At 7:30, Bipin Babu's servant came and announced. Chuni Babu, sir, says it's very important. Now, who could this person be? Chuni is an old friend, a close friend of, in fact, we can say the childhood friend of Bipin Babu. And what is he going to do and what is his purpose of visiting? Now, do you think he is going to entertain his old friend Chuni? What does he has to say? Let's find out. Chunilal had been turning up like a bad penny, which means he is not welcome at all by Bipin Babu. But he kept on turning up like a bad penny. He kept on turning up as a visitor. And yet, all this time, Bipin Babu refused to meet him. I'm sure you know why, because he's never a sociable person. He would rather occupy himself with a book and or dedicate his full time to his work. So now, Bipin Babu sent out word that not only was he able to see him now, but not in several weeks. Now, not just that day, but for another several weeks, he's not able to meet his old friend, Chunilal. Isn't that very strange, and isn't that very unfeeling of Bipin Babu? So he sent out the word to his servant that he's not going to meet him, and just as Chunilal was about to leave, something struck his mind. He said, "But," and then he rushed down to the living room, told his friend to come, and he did not ask him what is the purpose of his visiting. But he went straight away asking, "Listen, Chuni, I want to ask you something. You have a good memory." Now, isn't that a little funny here? Because Bipin Babu is the one who has the good memory. All this time he has a reputation for it, doing his work meticulously. But now his friend turned up. He did not ask him what is his purpose of visiting. All this time he's visiting, but he never told him or he never listened to him about what is the purpose of his visiting. And yet, this is what he is asking him. Now, and you've been seeing me off and on for a long time. Do you think that is true? All this time he is turning him away, and now he's flattering his friend Chuni and saying that you have a very good memory, and we have been seeing each other on and off. Just throw back your mind and tell me, did I go to Ranchi in 58? So this encounter with Parimal Ghosh is really affecting him. He cannot remember being on a trip to Ranchi. So he asked his friend, you are a close friend. I'm sure you know you have very good memories. Did I go to Ranchi in 58? At that point of time, Chunilal said, 58? It must have been 58. Or was it 59? So even Chunilal is not very sure. You are sure that I did go to Ranchi? He tried to confirm it again. Whether it is in 58 or 59, if he went, he did went to Ranchi. So that's why he confirmed again. Are you very sure? Do you mean you have doubts about having gone to Ranchi at all? Replied Chunilal. Are you trying to tell me that you have doubt about going on a trip to Ranchi? And he sat down, looked at Bipin Babu with amazement, and asked him, Bipin, have you taken to drugs or something? As far as I know, you have a clear record where such things are concerned. Remember, Bipin Babu is someone who is very hardworking, dedicated at his work, and his old friend, who knows him very well, is saying that you are such type of a person who never forgets things, and you are very good when it comes to remembering such kind of things. Now, are you okay? Are you taking into some drugs which is making you confused? And he looked very concerned. I know that old friendships don't mean much to you, but at least you had a good memory. So he pointed out again that at least you have very good memories. You don't cherish friendships at all. You do not think that friends are relevant or important much in your life. But when it comes to remembering other things, you are very good at it. At that point of time, Bipin Babu turned away because he was also embarrassed. You can't really mean that you've forgotten about the Ranchi trip. Now Chunilal is very amazed by this, surprised by this. Do you remember what my last job was? He asked him, do you remember what is my last job? Trying to test his memory. Of course, you worked in a travel agency, so that he knows. Chunilal's last job was he works in a travel agency, and that was his last job, remember? So that is why probably he's turning up at Bipin's place in order to ask him a favor, in order to help him with finding a new job. And yet Bipin Babu all this time refused to meet him. Now, you remember that, and you don't remember that. It was I who fixed up your railway booking for Ranchi. So replied Chunilal. Now, don't you think that that is very strange? Bipin Babu did not remember anything about how Chunilal had helped him, did small kinds of favors for him, and he fixed up a railway booking for Ranchi for Bipin Babu, and that also Bipin Babu did not remember. And besides this, he has done a lot of favors for Bipin Babu, such as at one point of time, when his fan was not working in his compartment, he called up an electrician and helped him. And another time, he booked his railway ticket for Ranchi and also make a point to see him off. So all these little deeds that he had done for Bipin Babu, Bipin Babu did not remember any such kind of small favors, but he remembered that Chunilal worked in a travel agency. So now all these things are giving us the clue that Bipin Babu is someone who only places his work above everything else, does not think much about friendship, old friendships. He is not very willing to help people who are in need, because Chunilal has been turning up not only once but many times, but he has been turned down. And even today, Bipin Babu is not even making a point to ask him why he is there, whether he will be able to do anything to help him or not. I have been working too hard. That must be the reason. I'm not losing my mind, but I think I've been working too hard. I think that is the reason, thought Bipin Babu. Must see about consulting a specialist. And he started to consider that I think I should go and see a doctor about this loss of memory. Something must be very wrong with me. At that point of time, Chunilal, seeing that Bipin Babu is in no condition to help him, he did not even mention about why he is turning up, and he left without mentioning anything about a job. Now, Bipin Babu went to see Dr. Paresh Chanda, and he told him about everything, the symptoms that he's having, that he's not able to remember a trip to Ranchi, that all his friends are telling him that he did went in the year 1958, which is very recent, only about 6 to 5 years, and yet he's not able to remember anything. And he pleaded to the doctor, "You must cure me of this horrible illness. I can't tell you how it's affecting my work." See, he is only concerned about his work. This is affecting my work a lot. I'm not able to work. For 25 years, I have been known to be a very good worker, and yet now, with this loss of memory, I'm not able to concentrate, do, perform, and function in my work properly. And after listening to all the symptoms and what Bipin Babu has to say, Dr. Chanda said, "I've never had to deal with a case such as yours, but I have one suggestion." The doctor said that this is beyond my expertise. This is a very new case, a strange, curious case, and I'm not the expert for it, but I have one suggestion. Now, what could be that suggestion? At that point of time, Bipin Babu leaned forward and tried to listen intently. He's willing to do anything to recover his memory. "You must have been to Ranchi, but due to some reason," he continues, the doctor, "I'm sure you have been to Ranchi, but for some reason, the entire episode has slipped out of your mind. For some reason, you have forgotten all about it. As far as I can make out, and I think you are of the same opinion, that you have been to Ranchi, but you have forgotten about it. What I suggest is you must go to," now he's suggesting some place that he should go and visit. What could that place be? I'm sure you know. This is a place which is very relevant in our story. Of course, Ranchi. So you must go to Ranchi, the doctor suggested. And the sight of the place may remind you of your trip. He must go to Ranchi for the same reason that the place or the Ranchi, if he go and visit it, the places might remind him of his previous trip. So that was his suggestion, and the doctor prescribed tonic and tranquilizer and sleep as essential. Now, he also prescribed this tonic and tranquilizer in order to calm him down, and also suggested that he must get plenty of sleep, because if we are not getting plenty of sleep, sometimes we become very forgetful. So that was the reason why he suggested all this. And Bipin Babu left. At home, he started to feel much better, and he considered the doctor's suggestion. Do you think he's going to take it up? Do you think that he would go to Ranchi, leaving his work, all his busy work, things that he must do? So you are very much correct. He booked a first-class ticket to Ranchi, and after that he felt a little better. Now, I am sure we are all wondering what will happen if he goes to Ranchi. But before that, let's do our own memory check here. Who was Chunilal? I'm sure you have the answer to this. Chunilal, I'm sure you have the answer to this. Chunilal was an old childhood friend who kept on visiting Bipin Babu in order to ask him for a favor, that is, for a job, help him with a job because he has fallen on hard times. What did he want from Bipin Babu? I'm sure you have the answer to these two. I'm sure you have very good memory power. He wanted a job. Why was Dr. Chanda puzzled? Now, why do you think Dr. Chanda was puzzled? Dr. Chanda was puzzled because the case of Bipin Babu, lapse of memory, was a very strange case. What was unusual about Bipin Babu's loss of memory? It is very unusual. Bipin Babu's lapse of memory is very unusual because he has forgotten an entire trip. Now think about it in this way. If you had gone on a trip and you have seen places, meet people, beautiful places, and yet after some point of time, if you have forgotten it, that would be a very strange thing. So not just a single event, but an entire episode, a whole trip he has forgotten. So that was the unusual thing about Bipin Babu's loss of memory. And on that note, we have come to the end of our class. I'm sure you want to find out what's going to happen in Ranchi, so join me again in the next class.